My name's Toby, I'm an addict. I'm vibrating. Been vibrating all day. Hey? Oh, I'm supposed to do something here. I haven't got a clue what I'm going to say. I've been sharing in my head all day. And I've got wonderful things to say. And I've got amazing stories, but it's like in a jumble. It's all jumbled. And you know, but you start at the beginning from when I was a baby and tell you how I've like grown this far, and then 20 minutes is up. So I'm going to start by saying the first time I did this was 13 years ago-ish. Yeah, 12, 13 years. And I was putting it off and off and off and off. And my sponsor at the time was pushing and pushing and pushing. And for me, it was like, at age 34, or 35 at the time, it was like the biggest, scariest thing that I would ever have to do, sharing in front of my new home group after being a year. And I hyper-focused on it for months before. I mean, terrifying. I was a father of two. You know, I'd had responsibilities, but this thing, doing this thing for the first time, was terrifying. And when I did it, everybody was involved, and it felt like maybe for the first time there was a oneness. And I can't even remember what I said, but when I finished, it felt like I was just suddenly initiated into a big, warm family, and it was profound. And it was probably one of the most wonderful things I ever did. But I'm not more scared now, but I've been physically trembling all day because I have to do this, because I'm just not very good at it. But at the same time, I've been really excited because I've become a teenager. Now a teenager in my new family, my healthy, well-adjusted family. All right, so yeah, you know, like I had a normal childhood. I had a dad who provided everything he could. He was a bit aloof. I wanted a bit more of a talkative relationship with my dad. I didn't have one, but I can't really complain. My two brothers, very normal, really. But I just felt, as a kid, odd. I felt like my clothes didn't fit. Like, I don't know, just like I couldn't understand the world around me, and I was terrified. You know, I was safe inside and terrified of everything out. And when I got to secondary school, that kind of feeling increased. I just felt like everybody else had the rule book, and I didn't. Everybody knew the book of life. All my mates knew. Everybody knew except for me, and I was just dumbfounded. And my first addiction was skateboarding, and I used to lose myself in that, and that's all I cared about. And then I found booze, and booze was like this thing that when no one was looking, I could sort of get some peace, and I didn't understand it at the time. But you know, like the trauma of walking through the corridors at school, because everybody in the whole school is staring at me, and my trousers that are too short. You know, and all the things I'm hyper-focused about, the way I smell, the way I look, everything. And it was absolutely crippling. But I soon learned that I had a friend in this thing that we called cider or beer, and I had access to it from a very early age. And, you know, from about 12, I suppose, I knew that there was a special thing here, that if I do this, things would be all right. But I very quickly developed into a blackout drinker, lying in a pool of puke. I was always in puddles of puke in my teens, and it was the one thing that gave me away. Being found in puke in my bed or top of the stairs, you know, age 14. So immediately, you know, like very quickly, I didn't have a workable relationship. It wasn't efficient. It caused problems, like from day one. And then I discovered pot, which was pot at the time, and same thing again. It didn't do what it's supposed to do straight away. I had to learn to smoke it, really. And then and then I had a whitey, but I couldn't stop. You know that whitey, you feel like you're dead, floating 2 feet off the ground, you're in heaven. Like, that's it, it's over. And I thought I'd never do this again, but I did. At this stage, although there was issues, I was at art school and things were all right, actually. I felt like a niche. I thought here was a vocation. I'm going to be an artist. And I'm among people and things are looking bright-ish. I don't know if I smashed myself to bits by taking too much speed. I know I developed psychosis at that time. But there was this profound moment when my friend gave me a cupful of this thing called methadone. And I took it, and that's when the light bulbs went on. Boom. That's when I realised that I had really found the thing I needed. It made me feel like I was made of gold. And when I puked, it was like silk. And I didn't need to sleep, but I could. And it lasted all night and all into the next day. And this thing was like a miracle to me. It took away, it took away, what did it take away? That thing we feel. I just felt it. This feeling I'm trying to describe, I still have it today. It got worse. It developed. It went from just feeling odd into like, I'm wrong. There's something wrong with me. And there's something wrong with you. And there's just something wrong. And nothing would take this feeling away. There was no joy in the world that would take it away. Unless I had this substance in me. And then I was made of gold. I had kids. I had a girlfriend who used to like to party. Then she very quickly realised that I'm abnormal. And then she was pregnant and she just stopped drinking, obviously. Didn't smoke. And expected me to do the same. But then I realised that I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop taking mushrooms. I couldn't stop taking speed. And I was rattling. I didn't know what rattling was, but I was rattling off this thing, methadone. This was my first real addiction. It was methadone before heroin or anything. It was methadone. And coke, DFs, and all these things at the junkie. I used to get off the junkies. And my reason for it mainly was because it wasn't obvious. You could hide. Just swallow a pill, drink methadone. And there's no dirtiness involved, no blood, no brown on your fingers from smoking it and stuff. I thought I was smart. But this not being able to stop when she was pregnant, I did stop in the end. And we had my eldest son, who's now 24. And that was, apart from me sharing in here for the first time, he was the most wonderful thing that ever happened to me. And I was sober. I got sober. And we had a little family and a nice little rented place in Wilton in Salisbury. And I had a little job. And, things were, looking back now, blissful, lovely, not a cloud on the horizon. But I just couldn't stop dreaming about getting off my head. I'd go to work and this would be better if I had, and eventually, like, I'd be looking at my son thinking, holding him, feeling love for the first time, and that fear of, shit, I love this thing. And then in the next breath, I've got to get something in me. And I did. And I thought it'd be just, if I just go out for one night and have a little treat, because I've been good. And then a year passes and I am flat out on not methadone anymore. We're talking about heroin. And then it develops into a Subutex prescription because I'm trying to sort it out. My girlfriend, mother of my child, doesn't know. And, I'm supposed to be at work and I'm out scoring. And I come home from work and say, I'll take the kids, I'll take them. I'll do the shopping, I'll do anything you like. But I was going to the dealer's house with my kids in the car. And I'm so full of shame. Because I honestly really just wanted to be that dad that loved his son and then 2 sons. And I'm in the madness. And I remember on my eldest boy's first birthday, the whole family's, I've still got the fuzzy memory now, the whole family's in the flat. There's these beautiful babies. And I'm in the corner feeling wrong. Like I'm dirty, I'm demonic. Why is this happening? Because I didn't know about this illness. I didn't know what we suffer with. And I definitely didn't know there was a solution. I never kind of knew there was a solution even when I was going to the services and I was getting my prescription, my Subutex and Valium script, and I still didn't know there was a way out. And then like a whirlwind, I'm homeless. And she's gone and the kids are gone, and I don't really know what's happened. I'm in a shelter with a bar, under my pillow, because the other guys who lived there kick my door in and steal my booze. So I have to have a bar to protect myself. And I'm like, I don't know how I got here. And I'm in the thickest, blackest depression. And I feel so dirty and sick that I don't want to see the kids anymore in case they catch what I've got. And I don't know how this happened or what it is. No one tells me it's what we suffer with. And I end up, luckily, there was always people out there. There's always people. We go through our lives up to this point, and there's always been angels or protectors or God works. And I got to a treatment centre, and I've been thinking about that treatment centre and how things were. And when I arrived there, I was like a puppy. There's no void of all responsibility, just to be looked after. And, kind of the victim. Like all of us in the detox centre, we're all just, we're lovely people. And we start dressing like a hippie again, talking about love. And I go to second stage. First day I go there, I go off to Weymouth. And I spend about a year in treatment, all in all. And I think I've licked it, really. I had a good time down in Weymouth. And we went there recently for, they had a day convention, and when I went back there, that time of sobriety and recovery, because it was recovery, I was recovered for a time, and I started to develop life. And I was 24 when I went to Weymouth after the detox in the fancy place in Wiltshire. And I was 24, I arrived in Weymouth on my 24th birthday, and I thought, I've got the whole future ahead. I've done that. There's no more rattling. After 4 or 5 weeks of sleepless, rattling, horrible detoxing nights, I can now sleep. I've got a warm bed. And I'm 24, I've got a whole world ahead of me. And, I kind of did the best I could. I kind of made something of it. How long have I got left? I feel like I've done through 20 minutes.
7 minutes.
All right. So I meet a girl in detox, and I jog on the kids in Salisbury, and I jog on the life I thought I would develop in Weymouth, in recovery, and I go to London with the girl I met in detox, because I have the brightest of ideas. I know what's best for me. And I've said it before, it would have been all right, except for I wasn't prepared for the bottle of DF she had on a bathroom counter. Wasn't prepared for that. I thought I'd licked it. I'd done steps 1 to 3 in treatment, and I went to the gym. I was getting quite muscular, and stuff. But I wasn't prepared for that. And I have to describe it because this was the obsession. The obsession. The obsession would have me on the curb of a busy road, and I'd be doing this, and I think if a car could just nick me, and just maybe break a finger or something. I'd go to hospital, it'd be dramatic, they'd give me morphine and things would be all right. And this was my daily thinking. When I blew my back out, I was so relieved because I had a legitimate reason to be prescribed morphine, tramadol, Valium, you name it. And that's the reason why my relationship in London ended. Because of that bottle of DF's there. Because I lifted the lid. Because I couldn't not, the hydrocodone, DF 118. Oh, so I got to look at that. Oh, that smells. Oh, that chemical smell. I'm supposed to be 2 years clean. And, and then I didn't take it that first night, but the obsession to take those tablets. Do I ache? I ache. I've got bad news. Got something going on. If only I could just, forget it. I'm just taking them, and I did. And as a result of that, I end up homeless again. Far away from London and the relationship, even further away from those kids that I love so much. And I am living in the woods. And I'm I have a banquet of squirrels as my food. It's wonderful. You know, a pharmacist not too far away, I can get my methadone. It's great. And I'm all alone with nothing but squirrels and wilderness for about a year, wondering how I ended up there. My best thinking. So, all right, because I'm running out of time. I forget what this illness did to me and my family. I forget what it did to those kids. What I did to those kids in pursuit of something I didn't understand. And then I come here, my very first meeting, and then all of a sudden, age 34, feeling like a child, so lost in the world, wondering why I'm dead inside and there's nothing for me. Life began in that meeting when all the men surrounded me. The solution's in here. Look, this is what you need to do. And I was off my head. But when I woke up the next morning, I was a different man. I don't know how. The first thing I did was I reached for the big book and I looked straight to the back where my sponsor, I had got a sponsor that night. I don't know how, but he offered. And I followed these suggestions. And I was a different man. I don't know. I can't explain it. Went to my first meeting off my head on mushrooms. I wake up in the morning, I open the big book, and my life changed. And here I am 13 years later. I mean, I did some work, obviously. I did what he said, first of all, and then I called my sponsor and I said, so what is this? And for months, I felt like I was communicating with a higher power that I'd never, ever had communication with before. And I'd go about to my mum, to my friends, and I'd want to talk about this thing that I suddenly felt was God. I felt like God was in my life. And those two boys that I'd been in and out of their life and really, really hurt came back, at 12 years old. And I've had 13 years of rebuilding that relationship, of looking in the mirror and knowing I'm a dad. I'm a dad now. And they love me, and I love them. And I'm there for them all the time. And then because of this stuff, I get to have a child in sobriety who's never seen me use, never seen me drink. I've never walked over him to go and get drugs. I've never stolen from his mum. No, I'm there. I've been there for that little boy, in recovery, stone cold sober. And when he arrived, it was a gift from God. And I could not believe how lucky I was, and still do to this day. And I was saying to my sponsor last night, how would you describe life in recovery? Because it all becomes very normal. It's like, it's just normal. Except when you compare it to how it was, it's not. It's an absolute miracle. But I have this thing I have to deal with called emotional sobriety. How long have I got, bro?
A minute and a half.
A minute and a half. I love recovery, but I'm an addict and I'm ungrateful. And I like to piss and moan, and I do, all the time. Thank God I get to come here and get to tell a little bit of my story to remind me and share. This stuff is so lethal, right, that it makes you forget. Because it wants you to do it again. And I don't feel like I will, but my emotional sobriety is like this. And today was a prime example where I leave the house with the best of intentions and I fall out with everybody I meet. And if it wasn't for this, and if it wasn't for this oneness that we feel, and if it wasn't for the 2 hours I spent with my sponsors, talking about watches and van trainers and just being all right. No agendas, no stealing, no bad feeling, and knowing that no matter what, I can come here and whatever I tell you is going to be all right. You can probably all identify. And then, I don't know, maybe something I said might be able to help somebody. Because I've noticed these days that I'm really, really egotistical and I'm very showy and I'm very entitled. And I have all these defects that are still here from when I was an addict. And I really don't want to be those things. And the more I identify that I am those things, the kind of harder it is to not be those things. And yet, I really don't want to be those things. So I try and do my very best here. I've worked those steps, and I try and work those steps and those traditions. And today felt like the firing squad, the way I'm feeling, but I rushed to get here to do this. And I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Cheers.